CAD Microsystems as your host tonight for this very special event. For those of you who don't know, we're broadcasting live over YouTube to the world right now. So, so watch what you say. Not everything you do in this room stays in Roslyn, Virginia. So we have a very special program tonight. Before I get onto that, let me just tell you about CAD Microsystems and how we support the design, construction, and owner community that's using technology. One of the ways we do this is through our user groups. CAD Microsystems runs 4 of these user groups in 4 cities up and down the Mid-Atlantic, as you see here. So if you know of anybody in any other cities that likes what you see here at this user group, we're doing very similar things in Raleigh, Baltimore, and Richmond too as well. And for those of you who are watching online, if you can make it to any one of these user groups, it's a really great place to connect with people that are like-minded with you with technology. So please be aware of that. Really the whole idea of these user groups is really to get together people and bring together ideas so that we kind of self-support each other, in the building information modeling community. So this user group is run by a board of advisors, as is all the other user groups that we have. We have board of advisors. These are the experts that tell us what's relevant and make sure that these meetings are impactful for you and so that you walk away with something of value. So this is the board of advisors for Revit DC, and we meet week after each meeting, and we decide what it is we're going to do at the next meeting. And it all comes from surveys that we send out, which I think is my next slide, if that works. It's not advancing, Donnie, but that's okay. Anyway, so it's all driven by surveys. It's all driven by what you want to see. So you'll get a survey after this meeting, so please fill out that survey. This really gives us ideas on what is relevant in your world and what you'd like to see at these user group meetings. All right, and tonight's agenda, for what you all came here for, we certainly have a real special presenter tonight. Marcello, he currently serves as the Building Information Modeling Director at John A. Martin Associates in Structural Engineering in Los Angeles, of which he boarded a plane, I'll have you know, 1 o'clock this morning to be here today to present to you. Marcello's worked on many BIM projects over the last 18 years, including the Walt Disney World Concert Hall in Los Angeles, the Ray and Maria State Center at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and the Tom Bradley International Airport expansion at Los Angeles International. By the way, is Marcello in the room? There he is, okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to introduce him and this guy wasn't going to come out. Okay, he's here. He's here, he's a professional. And I'm going to pronounce his last name. I know many of you probably haven't done this. Sgambelluri. Sgambelluri is internationally recognized as one of the top BIM leaders and contributors to the education and implementation of BIM technology in the building industry. He continually speaks at Autodesk University and Revit Technology Conference, which is now the BiLT conference, and he's received a record total of 14 first-place speaker awards. And I'll have you know that I don't think anybody is even close to that, maybe 2 or 3 in both conferences. Marcello has received a bachelor's and a master's degree of civil engineering, and he's a licensed civil and a structural engineer. Marcello also has been building a media empire that includes the following, which you should all check out. And really, he named this because this is what, I've seen Marcello speak before, and what his talent really is taking complex things and making them simple. So his blogs are Simply Complex blog site, Simply Complex YouTube site, Simply Complex podcast, and the AEC, here we go, and the AEC podcast. So, what he's doing tonight is he's taking his 21 presentations, he's going to distill them down into one that you're going to see tonight. And for those of you that were wondering how to model a cow in Revit, you're going to find out tonight. Here are his sites. Number 1, BiLT presenter for multiple years, 14, consistently voted number 1 at Autodesk University. I want you all to have a big round of applause for Marcello Sgambelluri tonight for coming out and presenting Revit DC. Let me get this going.
Is that it? You gotta look like keep playing. Come on. There we go. Test. Woo. Hello everyone. How's everyone doing? Yay. Okay. I rarely do user groups, so I'm excited that I was invited here to do this. I mostly kind of hit the big stage, Autodesk University and BiLT. How many people have seen me speak before? And that includes watching like YouTube or AU Online. Okay, so a few of you. All right, well I get really animated. I absolutely love this stuff. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2012. Let me just switch on over. So just like they said, this is going to be a best of. And if anyone has any questions, just shout them out. This is going to be really informal. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right. Yes, so we went over this. So over the last 7 years, I taught 21 Revit classes. I actually taught 37, so some are repeats. So we said, okay, let's do this, Marcello. When you come here, why don't you take your 21 and do the best stuff? So I decided to pick a topic from each of the classes. And does everyone get a handout? That's what you see here. So I'm going to kind of jump around on the handout, but it's basically my new kind of format. Just one-page summaries of how to do something. Bang, that's how you do it. You want to model a Revit cow? It just takes one page. Boom, there you go. All right. So I'm going to get a little bit of everyone. We're going to touch a little bit of Dynamo, a little bit of Revit. I want everyone to open up their eyes because some of this stuff can get kind of crazy, but I would boil it down to something really simple. Okay, I got till 8 o'clock. All right, let's see how far we get. Whew, never done this many topics before. All right, so as you can see, these are some of the models that I've done in the past. Up here on the top right, that's the Revit elephant. I did that back in 2009. That's kind of what started all this, actually. I modeled that in Revit, and I said, you know what? I just kept it to myself to see how far I could push the limits. Well, someone from Autodesk saw that and brought it to the factory. And at that time, they were still kind of developing the wall tools, and so they had this saying around the office in Boston. Whenever they tried to do something, they'd say, "Well, you can model an elephant in Revit, so we can do this." So it helped encourage and move forward. But if you Google the Revit elephant, I don't know what happened, but everyone's divided on it. It's like half the people love it, and the other half are like, "Why the hell did you model an elephant in Revit?" And that's exactly what you want to do. Right? You want to push those limits. You want to have those conversations, right? Should you model in Revit? Maybe. Could you model in Revit? Absolutely. Right? So that's what we're doing. So here are some other things. There's a 747. We're actually going to be able to open that, as well as Corinthian. I saw some when I was cruising around downtown. I actually saw an elephant at the Natural History Museum this morning. It was kind of nice too. So, and then we've got the cow. There's a red pump down there. There's a piece of mechanical equipment on the bottom right. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I got a timer up here, and let's get going. All right, if you have any questions, shout them out. So, yeah, the one more thing is, I kind of, without intending it, I kind of started this media empire. It started with the blog site, and then onto the YouTube channel, and then the podcast. So I encourage everyone to kind of check it out. And then most recently, I started an AEC complex comic. You saw some of the ones that laying out there. I brought a whole bunch of copies. So after if you want a copy, you can come up and I can give you a sheet. I can even sign it for it if you like. Okay. All right, so let's get going. Whew. So 21 classes. I'm going to kind of go out of order, but I am going to kind of roughly go from the latest to from the oldest to the youngest. All right. All right. Everyone see that? This is Ride the Rails class, AU 2015, first place. This is using a Ride the Rail method to do rotation. How many people love to do rotation, family building in Revit? Anyone loves it? Okay, let's get rocking and rolling. Let me check my time. It's 6:30 now. Did we start early? Nice. Love it. All right, so there's going to be a lot of live demos and a lot of me running around. All right, so just find the page there if you're following along. And if you don't have this handout, you can come get it later. Also, there's a data set for everybody. Talk to the group here. They'll figure out how to get you the data set. Okay, but everything I'm doing here, you'll have access to. Okay, let's do it. All right, so let's rock and roll. Here we go. Okay, so ride the rail. Why do we call it ride the rail? Because it has to deal with rotation. Does anyone have a lot of experience? Well, does anyone have any experience in the massing or adaptive component environment in Revit? Go ahead. We're gonna get to know each other. So don't be shy. You can't do this. Okay. I don't know what that means. All right. Okay. Good. And if you haven't, don't worry. If you're new to Revit, if you're new to Dynamo, don't worry. We'll walk you through it. Okay. We'll start from the very beginning. Right? Basically, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show everyone how to do this. I'm gonna show everybody how to model this in Revit. Okay, this is kind of a stop animation, but this is a hidden wall lift, right? I actually built this for an architect so they can put it out on site and see if this could go up on a window ledge and reach a certain slope glazing. But this basically uses the concept of inverse kinematics, and that's a Revit model. Oh, did you crash? What happened?
Welcome to DC.
There we go. Okay. I see it here, but not there. Why is that?
I see it as well, but let's see.
All right, so I might have to do it in interpret. I was going to do it in interpreting dance. I guess because it's jammed up in there, maybe. Okay, you saw it, right? Okay, that uses the concept of inverse kinematics. What's inverse kinematics? It's a fancy word. It just means multiple rotations. Okay, so whether you have a single door swing or bifolding doors or a piece of equipment like this, that's the concept, right? I'll show you how to build a rotation rig to rotate one thing, and then you can stack them to rotate many things. Want to see how to do it? Yeah. Okay, say we do it 4 minutes. Ready? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to close that. That video is not happy with that. Okay, here we go. So if you ever want to build any, well, let me back up because my gosh, I'm getting really excited. It's been a while. Believe me, I lived each one of these. So I get really passionate about it. Okay, what would you do currently to do your rotation rigs? Would you make like 2 reference lines and then one like this? If you don't build families, don't worry. And then what would you do? You'd put an angle parameter between here, right? And then you would put all your stuff on this. I'm going to say stuff, yeah? Is that what you roughly do?
Yes.
Okay, does everyone like when this goes to 90 and 180? Why not?
Because it breaks everything.
It breaks everything. Autodesk is getting better about it, making it more stable. But I'm here to show you alternate methods. I'm not telling you to do something different in your office, okay? I'm just saying you'll have more skills when you leave in your back pocket. If you'd like to use them, please. But believe me, I've been in talks with her like, Marcello, you told me to use that new method. And I'm not telling you that. Let me show you this. You think about it. You're professionals. You make the judgment. Okay, but here we go. Now, this is what I was thinking about. This is in the massing and adaptive environment. I thought, you know what? Why are we controlling angle parameters with? Why are we controlling rotation with angle parameters? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know what makes a lot of sense to me is actually if we put a point down, and then you can actually host things on points. You just kind of tab this so you get that, and then you put a circle on here. Okay, fair enough. What if you put another point on here? What if you did that? What if you actually connected these two and made a line between them? What if you actually grabbed this and changed this parameter from normalizing a curve to an angle, and then you actually made that a parameter? Is that breaking at 0, 90, and 180? So that's the concept, okay? You take that thing right here, you can turn that into a reference line. Oh my gosh. And then you can put whatever you want on it. I'm going to call it stuff, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show you how to put the stuff on, like in this case with all the hydraulics and stuff. I'm just going to say, put stuff on there, but mostly what's important is the bones, yes? Right. Okay, you want to do it? So I used to use the word ridiculously simple, but people have gotten over to me with that. So you decide if it's simple or not, okay? I'm not going to say, isn't that ridiculously simple? Okay, so, believe me, as you hit social media, believe me, you get a lot of comments. All right, so here we go. So here's the first point. Oh, by the way, I didn't say this, I'm jumping ahead. Get yourself a piece of cut sheets from the internet, or go to the company. In this case, it's a hidden wall lift. They were happy to give us these images. You put them, you kind of line them in elevation and plan. Okay. And then basically, let's just build the rigs. Okay, ready? So I built a point right there. Why there? I just kind of started there, but it's usually about your center of rotation. Excuse me. And then put the first circle on there. Roll this thing out. The radius should be about where the first or second rotation point is. Do you see that's a hole? Now I'm not. Excuse me. I'm not going to be exact here. Just I'm going to do proof of concept, right? But this would be to the first linkage. Would be about there. Okay, you want to scoop that in a little bit because you want to. Go ahead. Then you put a point on there. Okay. Then you can connect these two up like that. I do spline through. I pick 2 points and do spline through points. Okay. Anyone have a comment about that? I pick when I want to do a straight line. I pick 2 points and do spline through points. Okay. I do it. That's how I do it all the time. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Why spline?
Why spline through points? Through 2 points, the spline will become a straight line. If you have 2 points and you've got you're building a cowl or a complicated facade and you've got 5,000 points behind you and 5,000 points in front of you, and you want to draw a line between that point and that point, you use your line tool and you try to click that point and you try to click that point, you're probably not going to get it. So to guarantee 100% of the time that those 2 points are connected between that line, is you pick that point, you pick the other point you want, you verify you have them, and then spline 2 points and you got it. Those points will always be posted. That's why. Spline 2 points. Okay? All right, so here we go. I'm going to move on. Okay, so here what we do is we go ahead and we're going to place the second circle on that last point we put, and we just put it on the reference plane. Okay, and if you're not familiar with the massing environment, that's okay. We'll kind of break it down. I'll do 2 of these, and then we'll kind of see what's going on. Take the point, post it to the circle, right about where that point is. Okay, I'm going to build the second linkage, we call it that. Okay, now I'm going to kind of kick over to 3D, and then you can kind of see what's already going to start to happen here. Is if I move this point, then that other point better move with it. You see that? Okay, so did I nest anything? Did I go out, build another family, nested in? No. Okay, so this is just the power of hosting. Maybe it's not quite apparent yet, but let's keep rocking and rolling. Okay, so what do? Set. Put it right on that point, we'll build a few more, and then we'll move this thing like in the video. Okay, ready to go like this, boom, here we go. Right there, I'm gonna go to the next one. Right there, I'm gonna keep talking and moving. Put the point right there and post it. Okay, I'm gonna take these 2 points. I'm gonna do spline 2 point again. I'm actually a little slower because I've got, there's not much room for me to move my mouse here, but it's okay. I don't know why that is. Okay, then we're gonna set one more, ready? Okay, where do I set this? This next circle, center circle? On the point, yes? I tab to get sure I got that one that's facing me, okay? And then I put the circle on right there. I roll it about there. That's about good. I grab a point, I put it there. I'm gonna end it there. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I'm gonna end it there because it can keep going, but you just understand there, and I'm gonna say, boom. Okay, now I'm gonna roll back to 3D. I'm gonna see if this thing is working. You always want to test your rigs. All right, so I'm just going to move this one, and everything should move. There we go. See that? Okay, I'm going to do this again. Now, I'm not going to build all that fancy hydraulics. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a point on here, right there, say, and I'm just going to build a little cylinder. Okay, that way we can just kind of see this thing. You know what? There we go. Okay, set on there. I'm going to put a little circle there. I'm going to grow it just a little bit. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab these lines I just built. I'm going to change it to a reference line. I'm going to then grab this, and I'm going to say this, just so you know, right? It's basic. Okay, you're with me? Okay. Then I'm going to go back here and watch how ridiculously simple this. Oh gosh, I said it. I'm going to put it into this next position, right about there, right about there, right about there. You got it? Simple, right? Okay, I'm going to do one more, right about there. Uh-oh. Well, look, that's a little bit longer. So what? Right, we built these radius. If you want some telescope, just grab it and pull it like that. How cool is that?
Cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, simple, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
ridiculously.
Love it. Okay, I'm going to rock back. I'm going to show another thing. Okay, so basically that's it now. Watch this. You think that's cool? Watch this. You can grab these points. Now, by the way, everyone knows how to build a parameter if you build families, right? So I could build parameters on this to control it, but I'm just pushing and pulling it because I'm not gonna show you how to build parameters because I'm assuming you know how to do that. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so anytime I have a point here, like I showed you, you could do that. But watch this. Oh my gosh, you select all the points that you want to move and rotate. And if you had like an object up here, you just grab this and watch this. There's your inverse to the max. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
All right. Okay, one more thing. Sorry, I can't leave just yet. Now, one more thing. If you notice this too, watch this. Do you see how this, like for example, we have the cut sheets right here, yeah? So when I get the point, by the way, does anyone believe this is Revit? This is the Revit user group, right? PC Revit. Right. Right here, check this out. Oh, super cool. Okay, this can move to here, but the way I have it right now, it can actually fold in on itself, right? It goes past. So basically, see this first linkage? It can go from here, based on the cut sheet, to maybe about there, right? I mean, sorry, from here to, to maybe about here, based on the cut sheet, okay? You see what I'm saying? So, do you know, like, when you set this parameter up, you could put a parameter here to say, okay, if it's this far, then make it like this, or if, and if, and limits, right? Forget it, right? Because guess what? You already have circles. Which means if you break these, you got yourself natural bumpers. So now I cut that thing off, I push this, and then wham, it won't go any farther. How cool is that? Okay, a little bars. All right, cool. Okay, clap it up. Let's move on. Okay, here we go. How we doing? All right. What is this? Holy smokes! I don't know what to say about this. I'm slightly nervous. Okay, so next is how to build a Revit calc. All right, that's the next step. Want to know how to build a calc in Revit? It's really easy. Well, it would take longer than 4 minutes, so I basically have a little video here to show you how to do it. Okay, I don't like videos, but I have it cheap. Here it is. Okay, it's really simple. Oh gosh. Sorry. Where are you? That's how to build a pumpkin. Okay, so based in today's technology, you just go out, get yourself a camera, and take a picture of a cow, right? Use 123D CAC, build a mesh. That's all you do. Okay, got it? Build a mesh, clean it up. Now you got a cow, or if you happen to have a mesh off the internet, get that, okay? Then all you do is ride this into Rhino, you can do 3ds Max. Just basically cut it up so that you make one continuous sweep from here all the way back to the front. Make sure that those are continuous, like, transitions on the profiles. That's the key to making any very complex shape in Revit. You see how that is? Okay? Do you see the profiles, how they just kind of, whoops, how they just, did I lose everybody? Okay, hey, you told me I gotta show you how to do a count 4 minutes. Come on. I'll stop it in a second here. Okay, there, whoa, there it is. Oh, that's kind of what the makeup of the cow is, all right? But here's the trick. I wanted to find an animal that I could do other than the elephant that would have, like, continuous skin from the back feet all the way to the front. The cow made perfect sense to me. So basically, if you want to do that, you want to make sweeps in Revit, lofts, okay? Like if you have swoopy facades or whatever it may be, or cow, just make sure your profiles are, each transition is smooth. That was the key here to the cow. Boom, 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 boom. Go across head, ears, nose, tip of nose, bang, right? And then when you loft it, then there you go. Wham, you got yourself a Revit. Boom, there's the skin, there's the final product. Any questions? Don't worry.
So what was step 4?
The point here is just if you're going to make complicated shapes in Revit, you have to do them with profiles, yes? If you do them with profiles, make sure your profile from one to the next is a very gradual change. You can't go from this to this. You can't go from this to this. You have to go from this to this, to this, to this, to this. Okay, this has about 19 profiles. The elephant had about 40. This has about 1,900 nodes. The elephant had about 3,000. Okay? Cool. All right, you're making up time. My website also goes through it, my blog site also goes step by step with, that was just me recording how to do it, but it goes step by step and very slow. I think, boy, this is okay, so yeah, you're like, that's all fine and dandy, but what are we going to do with a cow? Well, a cow was one of those things, okay, can it be done? So let's talk about now how to work with complex surfaces inside of Revit, right? Maybe you've got a wrapping facade and you want to be able to put a floor into it. You want to have the floor be able to follow that edge, right? Well, what's the problem? I just like to use the cow as an example, plus we're kind of familiar with it now. So I'm going to go there, here, here, okay. So we got the cow. All right, here we go. Ooh, there it is. Okay, that's a cow. By the way, those are Revit walls. They just host, you just get a mass and then you just host a wall to it. Okay, that's a wall. All right, so here we go. Let's just say, for example, we have a building beside the cow, and we want to be able to put a slab on the third floor. Okay, so basically, what you do is you go to the third floor. What would you do right now? You want to activate your slab. Sorry, I'm more structural biased, so I'm using structural slab, but whatever. And then what do you do? Pick, right? Can you pick this edge? Has anyone tried it? What are you going to do? Spline. Sorry. No, watch this. All you do is I think I messed it up. I'm still in create mode, but I want to get out of create mode. There we go. Wait, yes. Okay, so watch this. So floor, circle floor. Just build with any old floor as like a way to start. Yeah, okay, no symbol. View 3D. Okay, here we go. Ready? Watch this. I'm gonna hide this just for now, so we can get. I'm gonna hide this just for now, so we can really get in there. Right now, what's the problem? The problem is that Revit doesn't allow you to pick something, but if there's a hard edge, it will. So if you have two solids and they intersect and you join them, guess what happens? You get a new entity, and that resulting geometry is pickable. So we go to modify, we go to join, grab that slab, we just put it down, bang. We grab the wall, the Revit cow, bang. Okay, we got that, boom. Now I'm gonna hide, I'm not gonna hide this, I'm gonna edit this boundary. I'm gonna take my pick tool now and I'm gonna zoom in, boom, you see it, got it. Why did it get it? Because it is a hard edge, which is a resultant of a join, which creates a new entity, which is that cow edge, right? And you following me? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me finish it out here. Okay. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to delete all this other stuff. By the way, my kind of philosophy in Revit is a lot of people when they model in Revit is they think they have to use reference lines and reference planes. Well, those are guide elements, but you can use the other things inside of Revit, walls, floors. I use them all the time as like guide elements. Sometimes I call them sacrificial elements. So then, boom. This says the line in sketch is slightly off axis and may cause inaccuracies. Hold on. There we go. Oh, come on now. There it is. Now it's going to say it can't join because now it's no longer like physically present. And there it is, the slab inside of Revit that's following that edge. Woo, how cool is that? Woo. So these are real walls, by the way. So if you want to, I mean, I don't know. You know what? I'm not an architectural designer, but you know, I mean, maybe you want a basement. So, any questions on that? Join. That's key. Okay. I call that intersection method. 2012. Okay. How are we doing on time? Ah, excellent on time. Okay. Right. Throw that in Enscape. It's a lot of fun to walk around. Anyone use Enscape? If you're not using some kind of form of a real-time technology, I encourage you to. If we had more time, I would leave into Enscape and then walk through the questions.
So use the expert to CAD method.
All right, where are we at? You know what would have been nice if we had kind of two monitors, one for my PowerPoint. Maybe we'll do that next time. If you enjoy this, maybe I'll come back and we can do a second best of. All right, scale and more in Revit. AU 2013, second place. That's because my other class got first place. How to scale using planting category. Oh, this is so easy. Anyone recognize what kind of column this is? Corinthian, yeah, right. So I modeled this inside of Revit, and I thought, you know what? A Corinthian is useless unless you're able to scale it, right? Proportionally. Okay, so it's really simple. This has actually got a tip from Revit's WordPress, so go check them out. They do awesome stuff. So what you do is just basically open. Let me see here. Where are we at? Scale more. I had to shift things around just because some things didn't make sense to kind of put it in that order, chronological order. All right, so it's really simple. All you do is, here's the Corinthian, by the way, and anything you see that I'm doing up here, you get as a data set. Okay, so there's the Corinthian. It's kind of, there it is, okay? So everyone can have that next time you do a renovation, whatever. All right, so basically watch it, it's really simple. All you do is you take a family and you stick it inside of a planting family, or you change it to planting. Because plants will scale. They have a height parameter. If it doesn't have a height parameter, add one. Is that it? Yeah, that's basically it. And then you go over here, and it's only a type parameter. So I'm going to select on that. Not selecting. There we go. It's a type parameter. That's height. That's 17 feet. I'll just make it kind of twice. I know it's not twice, but it's sort of twice. And then that's it. Bang. Yeah, see, I'm looking kind of right.
Did you say if it's nested into another family, it'll, like, if you don't want your columns to be plants, can you make it as a planting family, put it in another, and map that parameter?
Why would you want your Corinthian column to not be in planting? Yes and no. The question was, if you don't want that particular one to be in planting, nest it deep so it's in its category, and then nest it into a planting, and then it'll do the same thing. Yeah.
But you just switch the category back after you scale it.
The question was, could you switch category back after you do it? I never tried that, but I encourage you to give it a try. Oh. How many people like topography? All right, I'm going to show you. How many people? Okay, so let's move on. We are on topography. All right, here we go. Where are we with this one? Yeah, AU 2013. What? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to build a wall to follow topography. Okay, no Dynamo required here, although you could use Dynamo. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of steps, but conceptually it's pretty easy. Okay, so the first thing I was thinking about was the intersection method. Remember when we joined the two slab and cowl wall? If you don't want cowl wall, I'll call it a building wall. Okay, building wall, right? And slab. When we joined them, we got that new entity. It was like pick. I thought it would be that simple on topography. No, but conceptually it's the same. Let me show you. So first you got to cut it. What cuts topography? What? What? Building paths. Building paths cut. Yeah. Okay, so let's cut it with a building path. All right, here we go. Ready, massing inside. Building path. I'm going to do it between here, between A and B, and 1 and 2. There we go. Oh my gosh, we're rolling now. All right, here we go. There, I just cut it, right? So now you can't just simply click this. Why? Because it's a mesh element and it can't be click. But I've built a lot of beams in my time, and I knew that if
Actually, watch this course.
topography can't be picked, it's a mesh, but mesh can be picked if it's inside a mass. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to send this out, isolate. I'm just going to send this out, export, okay, as a DWG. Yes, I said DWG, okay? I didn't say AutoCAD, did I? I said Revit generated DWG, yes? Okay, good. I had someone run me down and say, how dare you teach us AutoCAD methods in Revit Classes. I didn't say AutoCAD. I just said now. I'm not telling you it's AutoCAD, right? Okay, bang, right, bang. You send that out as isolated right there. Okay, I already sent one out, but believe me, you send it out. Okay? You're like, why did you send that out? Okay, watch this. Here we go. I sent it out. I start an in-place mass. Okay? And then I say, you know what? I'm going to insert, I'm going to link it. And I'm just going to say, send it right back in. Boom, it's right there. See it? It fell right in place. Okay? For some reason, I don't know why, that you're allowed to actually do that. And you can actually pick it. So I'm going to go back to my site plan. I'm going to put a wall there. Should we do a structural wall? I guess structural wall along that edge right there. Okay, I'm going to go and view it because that's the wall I want to do. But it's just basically this like, you know, I don't know what it is, but I'm having trouble with my panning and zooming. I don't know why. There it is, okay? So we're going to make the wall profile follow that just like we did the slab profile, okay? You have everything in place. Ready? So here we go. Edit profile. Right? Pick. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, that's good. Okay, come zoom in here. You just go tab, bang. Now you got the edge. Okay? Well, I gotta close it up first. Oh, I gotta close it up. Okay, so let me just go this way and do like this. You're like, Marcello, why are we doing this? You don't have to do this. If you want your wall to follow topography, go ahead and use that spline tool, you know, and do your click, click, click. I mean, it's okay. I don't mind. I've had people completely scrap this idea because it involved a DWG. And I said, does it save you time? They're like, yes, but we have a strict policy in the office never to import or DWGs. And I thought we need to believe that. Nope. Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not here to argue with you. I'm just showing you the method. You take it from there, you know. All right, so there we go. Copy. I'm just going to do like a vertical up. I'm just going to take this and just kind of send it up maybe 4 meters or something. And let me just close it to see if this really works. Now, if you're working with little tiny teeny bits, make sure you get in there, you know, get your hands dirty and zoom way in. Okay, and then hopefully you can close it. If you got to use that friendly tab button if you need to. And then, you know, I get this about 50% of the time. I sure hope I get it now. Just to close it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say close. And I'm going to get a message. Best way to control top and base of the wall is to modify the constraints and offset parameters and properties dialog box. Well, I guess no one in Revit that developed Revit built a wall that followed topo head. Because that message is needed. Okay, anyway, here we go. Right there it is. I'm going to go boom and isolate element, and there you go. Follow the topo. How's that? Right? Get the intro to click on. Point is you can do it. I can do that in about, without my talking, I can do that in about 2 minutes. Okay, where are we at? You know, I wasn't, there's a few things I have in here because I have taught other things in Autodesk University classes of the 21. One was how to basically engage your audience. So I thought probably one of the best tips was this. Maya Angelou said it great, and I'm a firm believer in this, which is, she said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, will forget what you did. Like, you don't know, like, you probably forgot some of those clicks I did a while ago, right? But people will never forget how you made them feel, all right? So if you're presenting, that's what you want to do. You know, you gotta make sure you understand, get connected with people. Tell them how you feel. Get how they wrote up there, right? Yeah, that was a great presentation. Why? Oh, it made me feel great. Right? So, I mean, that's my kind of tip for you. If you want to get a top speaker, just do that. Here we go. Okay. Whew. This, I will not do the Dynamo solution, I'll do the Revit solution for this, but basically let's build a jet engine. Okay. Like Marcello, why would we ever build a jet engine? Oh, this actually has a lot of implications. Okay, so we got animal practical. There we go. All right, start.
It's like Jetson Twin Motion, what is that?
Whoops. Whoops. I rolled that in. Ah, I gave it a punch line. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the engine's context is it's part of this airplane. All right, everyone gets this, you can have it. I know the 747 is kind of getting outdated, but anyway. You see the idea, right? See that engine right there? That's what we're going to build. We're going to build a casing for that engine. Why does that make it so special? Because it actually loops in on itself, right? The law. It's got that kind of smooth edge, or maybe like a sink, maybe. I'm trying to think of other examples that you can do that. Why is that a big deal? Well, because Revit does not respect profile order. You're like, what is that? I'll tell you what it means. I will show you. Okay, so check this out. Here is that engine. All it is basically 3 profiles. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Let's call this 1. Let's call this 2 on the very end, and this 3. I need it to go from 1 to 2 and fold into 3. Got it? Okay. If I were just to click these 3 in any order, believe me, I tried many different times to pick them. Pick order doesn't matter. If you hit create form, it's always going to do this. Why? Because it's respecting what's the closest one. There's a formula it runs. These are actually called Hermite formulations. And that's what it does. Okay, you can never let it, you can never control profile order. You understand? Okay. Or can you? Right? So I thought, you know what? I could go to Dynamo, but we're not at Dynamo yet. So I could go to, I'm like, you know what? When I was doing this, I'm like, you know what? It would be great if it always extrudes like that. Well, then what if I move this one out here? Okay, I'm gonna get a little wild and crazy now. Okay, I'm gonna set this. I love to use things that are not meant to be used for things. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to build a box here. Okay, why a box? Because it's got nice flat faces. Okay, see that? Maybe I'll bring this up a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to project this onto that surface. Ready? You're like, why? You see? Okay, I'm going to pick that right there. Okay, I just projected it on. If you didn't know, that's how you project something onto a surface in massing. Did you want to see it again? I set that, I clicked pick, I picked that, and smacked it onto that. Why? Because that's the set work plane. Yes? Yes. Sort of? Now I got that right there. I got this one and I got this one. Now I'm going to say make them all reference lines. I'm then going to say create form because I know it's going to always extrude out like that. And then, what do you think I got to do with this? Drag it back into place. Woo. Bang. Done. Thank you, block. And thank you. I'll go back. So we got to keep out of the box, right? Then we want to move you. All right, there's a Dynamo solution there. You can pick the 3 and then do the reordering. Don't worry about that. I can do them just as quick, either one, but there's a Dynamo solution. Okay. Yes, we got 55 minutes. Oh, we are cooking. Any questions? You want me to slow down? Okay, we are finally going to get to Revit. Dynamo, excuse me. Okay. All right. Surface area ramp. I did a class, Dynamo Contractors, 2015. Okay. Dynamo. All right. So how many, don't be bashful, how many people have used Dynamo? Let me clarify. That means you would have to have at least placed a couple nodes yourself, you would have to have run the graph yourself, and you would have to have waited for the results yourself. Okay, cool. Now, anyone who has not used Dynamo, don't worry, I'll walk through it. We'll do this first example slowly, and then we'll take take off because it's they're almost inseparable now. Okay, Dynamo and Revit. There's a time for it and there is a time not for it. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, let's do it. How are we doing over there? Okay. We're live streaming, aren't we? Holy smokes. So a contractor asked me, I have a curved ramp, I want to get the surface area because I need to paint it. It wasn't painting, it was actually formwork calculation, okay? Yeah, you don't need the top for formwork calculation, probably right. We'll get it. Are you getting a double, are you getting a blur there, like a, is that just me? It's okay? It's okay, all right, so I'm gonna click this. I'm gonna leave it right there. Now, so someone in their office said, hey, you know what? If you wanna get the surface area of Revit of an object, well, just look at its properties, and its instant properties. Does anyone see surface area in those instant properties? Anyone? No, what do you see? It's very limited, right? What do you see? Width? Oh, you know what? Gosh, it's hard to see back here, isn't it? I apologize. I can't zoom in, I'm sorry. Okay, for all of you. What do you see there? Width. Is that going to help you? Sure, you could do radius and width and arc length, right? You could, sure, you pop that in Excel and have yourself a good time. Or you could say, you know what? Revit is limited in what it can display for ramps. Okay? Could you schedule that in Revit? No. So this is the point where you say, you know what? You want me to. You know what? I got a good friend. I got a really good friend. I'm going to ask them if they know how to get the surface area of a ramp. Hey, Dynamo. Yes? Revit? Do you know how to get the surface area of a ramp? I know how to get surface areas. Great. I'm going to pass my ramp object to you. You give me the surface area. Okay? Okay, let's do it. So that is one of the reasons to use Dynamo. Do you understand? Okay. Because as you start to think about Dynamo and you start to want to use it in your office, people will be like, why? Right? Like, well, it's cool and fun. Okay, yeah, why else? Right? Well, you can't get surface area ramp easily, right? But my friend Dynamo could. All right. So Dynamo's like your wing person. So let's do it. Ready? All you do is select the ramp in Dynamo. Here's Dynamo. This is the environment. A bunch of stuff on your left. This is a visual programming language, right? Revit. What we're going to do is select the ramp. I'm going to use it to select. There's many different selection methods. I'm going to use select by category. Can anyone tell me, the non-Dynamo users, what you think I would pick for this category? Just shout it out. What would I pick for this category?
Ramp.
Anyone? Come on now.
Ramp.
Ramp. Yeah, there you go. Cool ramp. Yeah, easy, right? All right, you're already done. Okay. One more thing is you just have to pick all the elements of it because that's just the category. You pick all the elements. There it is. It also uses basically if you want to connect it, information flows from here to here. You just basically click on this and you do that. And you see how these two line up? They like kiss, right? Right? That's his category, that's his category. That's very important. These types are similar, or the same. That's important. Okay, so we do that, boom. Okay, then you say, Revit says, hey, you know what? Dynamo, you told me you can get the surface area. You say, oh yeah, I get the surface area. Right here, surface area. I can get the surface area. Okay, pass that to me. And then you connect this up. And nothing happens. Revit says, you just told me you can get the surface area. And Dynamo says, what is a ramp? Oh, you don't speak my language, Dynamo. No, I don't. You are speaking Revit. Okay, I speak. Anyone? I speak Dynamo language. So how are we going to communicate? Well, maybe like in Star Trek, we can use that like universal translator. The developers built them for us. You may not think about it that way, but that's what they are. Okay? So it says, you know what? Can you take that universal translator, go into that ramp, and extract the surfaces, and then I can understand it. And we're like, oh yeah, it's easy. Watch this. It's right here. Boom. Revit. Element again. I don't like to type in here. And then this is called faces. It's it inherits from surface, so it still works. But look, there we go. Boom. These are all the faces. In fact, there it is. There's preview geometry right there. Oh, nice. Universal translator is working. Good. And then we come over here and we say, okay, give me all the surface areas. Oh, there they are, right there. Okay, that's super cool. Does everyone get that?
Yep.
Okay, now you're like, Dynamo, that's not useful for me because there's 6 surfaces, by the way, using programming language. It starts at 0, it's not 1, it starts at 0, okay? That's what. All right, so hey, you know what, you need to sum that up for me. Dynamo's like, I got a sum node. Can I use it, please? Yes, please, use it. Right there, right? Boom, done. There it is. Okay, look at that huge number. That is square millimeters. Why? Because the Revit units are set for area of millimeters squared. So Dynamo knows to pull those units with it, got it? And you're like, I don't like that. Okay, fine. Well, you can put variables in here like an X and feed this in, and then you'll just get the same thing. But what if you want to convert it? You can do that too. You can put in this. I'm going to make it square meters. So I'm going to divide by 1,000 first, and then by 1,000 again. And bang, now I got square meters. 21.89 square meters. Right? Oh, I want to round it up. Fine, there's rounding notes, okay? Goodness. Everyone get it? Right? Just boom. Why? Because Dynamo can access the Revit database. That's why. All right? You can write that back in. You can take a screenshot. You can email it to your friends. You can even write that to Excel, whatever. But that's just kind of an introduction into Dynamo. How does that make sense? Okay, how cool is that? Dynamo. No? All right. Okay. Well, fine. You know what? What about if you wanted to do painting calculations on something complex? Could Revit do surface areas of something complicated? Absolutely. So we'll run that same script, by the way, so I would save it. I would change the ramp category to something else, right? Like something else. And then it would select it all. And then, oh, did I move that? Whoa. Good. There we go. Here we go, right? Element faces, it flattens it. Surface area, sum, right? Boom. Okay, why did I choose? Are there any questions about that? You want to see the works? Me too. We'll let that think. Anyway, you get the idea, right? You want to do painting calculations? Oh man, look at that. I don't know why. I'm rather surprised this is happening. Maybe because we're running most of it. It works. Okay, anyway. All right, let's move on. We'll check with that later. Okay, so let's go back to, let's take a break from Dynamo. We're going to use this one really quick. Okay, let's take a break from Dynamo. And let's talk about laying down some structure. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, perfect. Wow. Revit took Dynamo took Revit with it. Come on. Okay, new session. All right, so how many people in here have to model structure? Architects, I hope you're raising your hand. All right. Okay, so let's talk about this. Here we are. Let's talk about this. Cutting edge structural modeling techniques was the class. Built North America 2017. Okay, so basically, we want to be able to orient beams to a surface. Okay, so let me kind of set it up for you. Did we lose the other one? Yeah, we did. That's too bad. I tested it for everyone. It is what it is. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I'm going to. I jumped ahead. Okay, so let's say we have a situation where we have a curved roof, right? And we have a beam that we have the model that has to actually follow. The top flange actually has to be rotated based on the curve. See what I'm trying to get at? Well, what do you do now? Right? You take your structural beam, you may do your 3D snapping, you come over here, come over there, you got it about there, come over here, you look down the barrel, you come over here. For the people in the back, I'm changing the cross-sectional rotation parameter. Maybe third, negative 33. Oh, I almost got it. 36. Maybe 40. Yay, 40 is a lucky number. Okay, next one. Okay, come on, how many people have done this before? Okay, and forget all that, right? Watch this. I'm going to show you the power of an adaptive component and a repeater. All right, so basically this is a surface that can be divided, okay? So you're going to edit this in, let me get rid of these edge ones just so we're not confused. All right, you can edit this in place and we can divide this surface, okay? We can also break it up into however many we want. Like I'm going to do a 1x12 in this case, okay? So those would represent my beam locations, all right? Also, you have, if you don't know, in your surface representation, you can also turn on the nose. Did you see where that came from? There's a little itty bitty arrow right there, okay? See it? Boom, nose. Why is that important? Well, adaptive components, 2-point adaptive components, and we'll get into that in a little bit, when you host them onto nodes of a divided surface, you have the ability to repeat them, because there's something called a repeater. But the beauty about this is, let me show you my, let me open this up. Here's my beam. It's just basically a 2-point adaptive with just basically a 2x4. But you can make any profile you want. You can even set this to a type parameter so that it can change all your different cross sections and whatever. Okay. So you basically have a 2-point adaptive component. If you don't know what a 2-point adaptive component is, it just means when you bring it into your project environment or anywhere it's going to ask you, okay, where do you want point 1? Where do you want point 2? Got it? Basically all it's going to do. Okay. But it's so smart that if it's hosting onto a divided surface, it's going to know the orientation of that surface. You see where I'm going with this? So all you have to do is go like this, bang. I'm going to go there. You see that little like circle? It's kind of hard to see. And you'll get another one over here. Bang. And it's just, the whole point of an adaptive component is it just loves to host onto divided surfaces and divided paths. Okay, you got that? Now, if you look over here, there's this thing called P, or it says a P there. It says repeater, and that might stand for pattern. I don't know. Anyway, you just click that. Ready? Bang. That's it. One and done. Right? Or if you want to, you can even get a little creative with that over time. You can select the divided surface if you wanted to. Maybe you didn't like that layout. You can make the number a parameter. Let's say, I don't know, framing, like framing size or framing spacing. You can do spacing, you can do total number, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm gonna finish this and turn everything back on. Do you see how it has that in there? I can select on this again. I can actually change this number. Maybe I want 24. I don't know. See that? Maybe I want 100. Right? That's what I want. Why 100? Because it's fun. It's fun to break it faster. Can't go over 201, I think. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, get that. Let me go up here for. There. Ooh, that's a pretty shot. Look at that. All nice and oriented. Okay. Anyone get it? Got the point. Now, putting that, yeah. That's not a structural beam. No, it's not. Okay, you can use Dynamo to do kind of the same thing with that. My blog site showed you how to do it with structural beams. But if you're laying out framing and you want to get something in, the adaptive component's amazing because it can follow those surfaces. Okay, and if you don't know what adaptive components are, run to your office when you get back, whenever you get back, and look it up. Okay. Any questions about that? No? Okay. Are we doing out of time? Oh, yes, we've got 38 minutes. You know what? I still want to take a break from Dynamo, so we're going to talk about this. All right, so do you remember how we actually rotated using the right to rail method? But we had a circle and a point. What was that? Okay, oh, that was so, if you want to use the classic family editor, well, they don't have points, right? So you got to come up with a different method, but it's rather easy. So I'm going to show you how to actually use rotation on a also a multi-joint family. That's this telehandler down here, right? But you can use it on anything, like door swings, bike holding doors, you know, other things like that. My blog site shows you how to do it on bike holding doors. Okay, but I think it's kind of fun to do it on the more interesting families. Right, so watch it, it's really simple. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go to so all I'm going to do is here's the base, right, of that telehandler, okay? And everyone gets to have his family together, right? First thing you need to do is there's that first part of the boom that's going to be moving up and down, right? Okay, if you want to control that with your reference lines and that 3 reference lines, you know, have at it, okay? I'm going to show you another method to do it, okay? And then it's also got a piece in there that telescopes out too, you know? That's got a fork on the end of it, okay? So we're going to do both. We're going to do rotation and we're going to do telescopic motion. Just like we did with the Hinawal lift, okay? So we're kind of running through the same concepts, but in the classic family. You know what I mean by the classic family editor? Anything that you can edit, a family editor that is not massing or adaptive in nature. Okay? So it's the stuff we kind of all know and love. Windows, doors, balusters, telehandlers. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'm just trying to let you open your mind and kind of think about this. All right, so when I was thinking about this, and I did the right to rail method, called that rail method, I was like, how do I do it in a classic family environment? I'm like, how do I make something move and rotate? So I walked out my front door and I opened my door and I looked at the hinge and I was like, that's it, a revolve. Okay, a revolve works very similar to a right to rail method. Why? Because of this reason. And I'll show you. Okay, so let me set this up. You can kind of put this anywhere. So I want to make a revolve. So I'm going to say set. I'm just going to happen to put it right on the tip of these forks. You certainly don't have to do that. You can put it kind of anywhere you want. It's not selected now. There it is. Boom. Okay. Now revolve. Okay, here we go. Axis line. I'm going to draw it from here because these are 2 pins that would kind of rotate that first boom. You got it? That's where it would rotate. Everyone follow me? Why I put a rotation line here? Yes? Okay, good. I'm going to say, now my boundary line, it may seem a little arbitrary, but I'm going to put it like that. Okay? And you'll see why I'm doing this. Okay, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Watch this. You're able to open these things up. It doesn't have to go from 0 to 360. It can go from 0 to whatever. Look at that pretty flat surface that you can put stuff on. Not only that, but you can make it a parameter. So simple. Watch this. I'm turn this to 180. Okay, let's get that first boom in here. Where is it at? Here. I'm just going to kind of estimate it. Now, I built this boom in another part of the family, but we're just going to kind of nudge it into place. Now, we're not being very exact, right? I mean, I'm going to get it about there, but I need to rotate it. So I got to tab this thing, and I'm going to get it over. Okay? So I'm just kind of estimating, but you get what I'm saying, right? You can have fun and make it exact if you want. Okay, watch this. So I'm not setting any parameters, but look how easy this is. Doesn't this just seem so natural? Watch, I'm just going to grab this and I'm just going to rotate it. Come on now. You don't like that?
Wow.
There we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to hide this. You're like, what about the telescopic? Oh, what about telescoping? Right? And I thought, how am I going to telescope? I need to like extrude. How am I going to make something telescope? I'm going to extrude something. Okay, so ready, watch this. Easy. Same thing. Sorry, I don't mean to keep saying that. Let's have it. Okay, so I'm just building an extrusion here based on this. Boom, it just happens to be that same, right? So then when I move this, that will move, you understand? Okay, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to bring in my telescope. I'm going to set this onto that face. I'm going to then get my boom end, and then I got to rotate it into place. Don't worry about that. I didn't have time to fix that. And then I got to get it in place again. So I'm going to go through. Just keep it in place. I'm just going to rotate. Okay, now look at this. So if I want to rotate, I just go like this, and do you see that relative movement? And if I want to telescope, then I just do this one. Right? And I can set up these parameters, right? You see there? And then, oh sorry, how cool is that?
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So just think about using angular parameters and the other straight dimension, kind of think there are other options. I'm not saying you have to go back to your office, change all your families. I'm just saying you got to send back to how you use it. Okay, one more thing. I had someone run me down when I showed this. They're like, how dare you put all that extra stuff in my family? I'm never using that method. Why not? Because now that stuff is going to show up in my family. Oh, really? So, you don't have to show that stuff as it goes into the product environment, okay? You can make it invisible if you want. All right, cool. I don't need to put on the forks, do I? No, okay. Here is the final product. Here's the final product you get this to. But you could put on the forks too if you want, right? And then you could even, the rotation, the last one you put on that tip of the fork, if you want, because those forks always have to be horizontal to the earth, you can always just make that parameter for that tip of that rotation. You can always just make it equal to the angle of the boom, and then those forks will always be vertical if they need to move, or whatever else you're doing, okay? So it's just kind of more complicated rotation themes, but just kind of think about that. So I'm going to move this, and those forks should stay vertical. But yay!
What's that little thing we shouldn't look at? Little guy that you told us not to look at.
Oh, you're looking at that? Yeah. You just, I didn't have time. Please ignore that. Okay, since more rotation? Like rotation? I got one more rotation. Okay? So we talked about rotation in 2D, right? So what about rotation in 3D? I'll show you this. This is my fave. Oh my gosh, I had to throw this in. Okay, here we go. So, okay, one more. So I thought we'd bring back the Revit Cal. And I thought, you know what? Gosh, how about the way a head of a cow moves, right? It doesn't move in one plane, right? It can actually rotate, kind of like a ball joint. So if you want ball joint movement, then all you have to do is host this, and by the way, this point will move the head, okay? I built the cow that way, okay? Just feel this. But that's unrealistic, because it won't move its head like this, and like this, right? It sees that grass, it's going to go wham! And go straight there, which is a combination of multiple, right, axes movement, right? Anyone guess maybe what do you think? We hosted the point on a circle so it can move around in a circle. What do you think we could host that point to make it move around like a...
The sphere?
Almost. Good guess. Who said hemisphere? Good. Hemisphere. So let's build a hemisphere. How do you build a hemisphere? Well, just like we built the revolve. You just build yourself a sphere, and then you hold this, and you just open that up. Maybe we go 180 to 360. 180 to 360. Not 18. Oh, goodness. This mouse, I don't have much room. There we go, right? And then take that, bang, and go pick your host, put it any way you want. Boom. And now, at that point, we'll slide around on there, and that cow will be happy because it's moving its head in a realistic way. Cool stuff?
Geometry there, sorry. Geometry is checked to not be visible. We still have to.
If the host geometry is checked to not be visible, will it still move along its host? Absolutely. Because you're only making it invisible, you're not making it, you're not deleting it. I never really thought about that before, but yeah. And check it out. I'm going to say, by the way, I haven't verified it, but logically, it would still work. Okay, that's my answer to you. But if you want to have a conversation, geek out about that later and try it, please tell me. Okay, I'm still going to be avoiding Dynamo for the moment, and I want to talk about more structural beams. Okay, so everyone want to do some more structural beams?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so how many people?
I had a problem with Dynamo today.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Installing and uninstalling and
Right,
it's too fat.
okay, structural beam framing. Now, whether you're an architect, a structural engineer, or an MEP, or an owner, I would imagine you're opening up the structural models, or at least the structure in your Revit model, and you're looking at it.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes? Good. Now, are you taking it for granted that it's perfect in every way? You trust that structural engineer, or, okay, hold on, whoever modeled it, that it's 100% correct? Should you do that?
I shouldn't do that.
I mean, you have, it's worth a peek, okay, that's all I'm saying. So, I'm going to show you some ways just to peer into it, to like quality control it on a very nice level, okay? So, now, does this framing look pretty good? Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah, is it really good? You're viewing it at a macro level, right? Now, I want to open everyone's eyes again to something. How many people turn off the analytical model in their Revit model? Okay, I taught a class. It was basically how to use the analytical model for things other than analysis. Okay, one of them is it is a very good telltale sign of the health of your roof frame. So go here, turn it on. Right? I'm not saying turn it on. I'm saying, you know what I mean. I'm not telling you what to do. I would turn it on. Now I'll take a peek. And I'm going to just cruise down this curve. I'm not so sure about that. So it's not even connecting to my curve. That one. That one. Do you see what happens? the nodes at the end of the member of the element start to have a telltale sign. Okay, what about this column? Looks pretty good. If these all came into one point and I hover over that node, how many nodes should I be picking? One. How many do I got in that, sorry, this side of the room? How many do I have in that bottom right corner? Four. Let me zoom in there. I mean, okay, hold on. That may be correct, right? Maybe. Maybe, right? If you're not the structural engineer, you say, hey, you know what? You gotta be nice about these kind of things, right? Because we're all a team. You gotta be, especially with structural engineers, you gotta be really nice about it. You know, I was looking at your model and I was printing it out and putting it up on my cubicle and admiring it. I just so happened to notice. In this case, there was 4 nodes. I thought it was so pretty. They're like, let's see. Where? We'll get you a new model. Right? They're like, no, don't get me a new model. I'll fix it myself. Okay. All right, maybe you're not allowed to fix it yourself, but I'm going to show you. Like, Marcel, that's all fine and dandy. How do you fix that? I'm going to show you. But here's the thing, by the way, I open everyone's eyes. This is how I look at things. Even if I never use it, I want to learn it because I know someone in my team who may want to use it. So if I'm going to be like, I'm not going to fix that, but I know how to fix it. Now I'm the architect, I'm going to go tell my structural engineer nicely, hey, you know what? You can do this in half the time. You want me to show you? Oh yeah, show me now. Okay, perfect. Oh, we're so chum. Structural engineers, architect, MEP, contractor, owner, civil, right? Is that right? Everyone all okay. Well, you gotta lead that kind of culture in your office, okay? Because we're all a team. All right, that's my team speech. By the way, I'm case in point. I never, ever once modeled topography in my office. Ever. Ever. But I knew there was a need in the industry to try to figure out how to do it. So I spent my time to figure out how to do it. I helped some architect that we were working with. I helped some of the civil engineers and helped the industry in the plan, right? So just, think about those kind of things as you kind of pick things that you want to learn. I'm not telling you to learn everything. But, kind of keep a pulse on what people are doing in your office and outside your office on your team. Maybe you contribute even if you're not asked to. I teach a class at Autodesk University coming up kind of on that topic. Being a hero and kind of looking outside just what you do in your office. Okay. Sorry, I didn't say that. Okay. Where were we? Fixing. Okay, here we go. So how do you fix it? Super cool, super easy. All right, so turn on that analytical model. Okay, ready? Don't worry, you turn it right back off. All right, look right there. Ooh, there's a problem right there. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. All right, so what you do is you could either tell the structural engineer or do it yourself, analytical adjust. You can adjust that line. You take that point, you say pick new host, and then you go like that, and you say finish. That didn't move that one, did it? Okay, we'll get it. All right. So there's no really way to align this to that because there's no thing to pick here. And I was like, there's nothing to pick there. I'm like, well, why don't I make my own pick thing? So edit the family, right? Go to plan, top view, right? Just draw a line. Ready? Here, a line to here. Bang, bang, lock it. Bang, bang, lock it. What am I doing? I'm just drawing a line so I can see the darn thing. Where did you go? Oh no. There you are. Bang. What did I do? That's what I did. Okay? If you want, I'll build one for you. Okay? Throw that back in. Bang. Bang. Ooh, here it comes. Oh, so pretty. And by the way, if you do this, you can start to see center lines line up too, right? Okay, so just, and then, hey, I want that in my model. Okay. Remember that little visibility thing we talked about? So anyway, here, bang. We know that's in the right spot. Maybe, right? Don't know which is which. I'm assuming that those want to line up. Okay, I'm a structural engineer. They were supposed to line up, but sometimes they don't, right? Okay, fine. But They do. Which one's the right one? That one on the left is right, is the correct one, and this one is not, so we have to line them up. Anyway, boom and boom. How cool is that? Yes, you like it? Okay, cool. So I did this and I was like, you know what? I started doing this and I was like, you know what? Whoops, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of moving this. So I went like this. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. I went like this. Structural beam, pick, pow. And I was like, what did I just do? Oh my gosh, I just put a line, like line with 2 points at the end of it, controlled where it was, and then snapped the beam to it, right? I was like, oh, I don't have to use analytical. Oh my gosh, my whole world just exploded when I did this. I was like, oh. By the way, I am 5 times faster building roof framing now. Let me show you something. Or show, you know. So here we go. Next one, watch this. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, I'm getting excited. Okay. Kind of moved everything around here. I'm a little too excited. Here we go. So what is an analytical line? It's just a point, just a line with 2 points at the end of it. Well, isn't an adaptive component also that too? I'll just show you, right? Doesn't that kind of look like the analytical line?
Yep.
Okay, so let's make one. I'll show you how to make one really quick. Ready? Watch this. New, family, generic model, adaptive. Spline 2 points, yes, spline 2 points. 1, 2. Put them anywhere you want. 1, 2, select it, say make adaptive, load it in, you're done. Easy, right? If you want one, I'll make one for you. Okay, load it in. Here we go. And then where we go? We're from here. And let's say I want to make the beam, oh, I don't know, 25% along that arc length. Right? Well, the cool thing about an adaptive component is you can host that point to curves, you can host it to surfaces, and you can control its location. So if along that curve of that beam, if I wanted to be at the quarter point, then what would this value be, this normalized value?
0.
0.25, right? You're like, Marcello, okay, where are you going with this? So I can go like this. You're like, no big deal. I'll do that anyway with my structural beam. Oh yeah, good luck. Good luck finding the quarter point. I get that point. There's my midpoint, where's my quarter, where's my third, where's my eighth, right? So do you see when you use an adaptive component, you can actually control in a very easy way beam location, right? You want to wait for your structural engineer to frame an opening? Hello. Right? No? Right? And then you just, when you're all done, you go bang, 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 bang. How cool is that? You think about that? Think about it, okay? You're like, you know what, Marcello? You know what? I like this, but when, gosh darn it. There it is. Where is my adaptive one? There it is. When my, oh, I keep placing it. Oh my gosh, no one's stopping me. When this moves, the beam doesn't move with it, right? Okay, so, well, what if you said, Dynamo, hey Dynamo, can you place beams on lines? Absolutely, just tell me where the curve is. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little script here. I'm not going to place all the notes down, but now we're back in Dynamo, okay? You don't have to use Dynamo, right? You can just go click, 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 but if you want to, you can. So I'm just going to say open, oh, sorry. It's pretty cool, it's really simple. So you just go AC, here we go. So basically all it does is it takes the family, it was called 2-point adapt, that's what I called it. We select all the types. It pulls the element curves. Does anyone remember what we called this? The universal translator, right? You pull in an element, it comes out a curve. This just places structural family. I always place my framing on level 1, my roof framing, just so I know that my top steel kind of comes out nice and pretty. That's the actual size of the beam. And then I can hit run. And boom, there it is. Hopefully my Dynamo script hasn't been running. There we go. See, there it is. And then you can actually turn this to automatic, let it run in the background, and you can have yourself a framing party. Cue the music, I hope. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Frame. And then once you cancel out of that, bang, there goes the beam. How cool is that? How are you doing on time? 15 minutes. Are we doing okay over there?
Quarter bill.
Okay. 15 minutes. You're shaking your heads over there. What's going on? Any questions? How's the pace? Doing good? Okay. I know it's a lot, but come on, 21 classes. 90 minutes. Okay. All right. By the way, I'll be available after to hang out if you have any questions, and then also if you want to comment, you can do that. Okay. Should we take a break from beans? Let's take a break from beans. Yes, yes. Come on. Come on. I know I'm kind of structure heavy, but like I said, if you're MEP and you're construction contractor and you're an architect and you're not paying attention to structural framing, then you're doing something wrong in your office. Okay, so. All right, so here we are. Let's check out this comic. So I did a class called Who Models What in Our Structural Office? Because in the structural office, is anyone here in the structural office or manage people in the structural office? Okay, so there are Revit models and there are analytical models. Is that correct? Revit models and analytical. I suppose you can relate this to like Revit models and like what? No, not quite. One that would do analysis. So maybe some of your some of your daylighting, right, or some of your energy models, maybe in architecture, right? So there are many different models in the office, right? So I did a roundtable. Dan was there, and I think a few others. And this is, I was like, how do I summarize that? So I summarized it in comic form. And this is basically it. But too bad I punchline most people can't. Yeah, you noticed that, huh? Yeah, they were, but just ever so slow. Anyway, read this in your leisure. But basically, it's basically saying that we got to share our models, because everyone can't read it, so the effect kind of got lost. Next time, we're going to get a big screen, and we'll do it there. All right. But read the comic. I do all these comics myself, by the way. I really like it. Okay. Anyone want to do any C# coding? Want to build a Dynamo node? Zero touch? Maybe we'll end on that. Okay, so let's do it. Dynamo. Okay, so I do have a Dynamo package out there. It's called Simplex. It's got about 1,800 nodes in it, because it's got Dynamo for ETABS, Dynamo for SAP, Dynamo for Tekla, and then a few, and then the Dynamo 1000 there as well. So check it out if you have time. It also can take, it can also extract text from Word files. Okay, but where are they going with that? Dynamo. That's all done through, so Dynamo is an add-in to Revit. I don't know if you can argue it's still an add-in, but basically Dynamo has packages that you can customize for Dynamo. So maybe you've gone through and you've looked at all out of the box nodes for Dynamo, and then now you need to write your own node, right? It's not that difficult at all. I'm going to show you how to do it. So basically all these custom packages are based on something called Zero Touch and C#. Anyone C# coders in here? Well, I'll turn you into C# coders after this. Think I can do it? Okay, so let's do a fun example. Let's not do Revit. So, December, I will be celebrating my 20th anniversary at my company. Thank you. So, the very next question people ask me is, how old are you? So I thought I'd have a little fun. Let's write a little script to find out how old I am, okay? And that will be our Dynamo node. How's that sound? Are we okay? What's going on?
Keep talking.
Okay? All right, so in order to write a Dynamo node, you just basically need to have a class. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. And you need to have a method. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. I'll show it to you. It's pretty simple. Can I get this back? Did we lose a feed or something?
We lost the video.
Okay, we're ready? All right, so I'm gonna load this in, but here it is. Okay, don't get intimidated. Let's just give it a try. We're gonna give it a try. I'm just gonna attempt it because we're well. Okay, let's do it. So you gotta first go get Visual Studio. Don't worry, C# is not that complicated, especially for when you have to do custom nodes or Dynamo, okay? So as you saw, Dynamo has input ports and it has output ports, okay? Most important thing with the Dynamo node is that it has an output port. It's gonna have to have an input port because Dynamo does something and kicks out a result, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna chew on Marcello's age and we're gonna kick out the result. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So basically, I'm gonna show you how to do it here, but you gotta load in some references depending on what database you're talking to. And then you gotta make a namespace. Namespace is like a book that holds classes. Classes are basically chapters that hold methods. Methods are the routines that you do your stuff in. So that's basically what we gotta do. We gotta build a method or a function to find out Marcello's age. Okay, and it's really easy. So think about this as like you drive down into a Revit model, right? You're like, you want to know about this, right? You want to know how tall it is, right? But first you got to get to know it. You're like, well, what are you? I'm a desk, okay? And then what else? Well, I'm made of wood. Okay, cool. And now what else? Tell me more and more about yourself. So that's how we're going to do it. First you got to meet me. First you got to meet my friends. Then you got to meet me. And then you can ask my age, right? You can't just walk up to me and go, hey, Marcel, how old are you? I mean, I'm friendly, you can do that. You don't do that to me, right? Excuse me, how old are you? Right? You want to kind of, you kind of ease into those kind of things, right? Because first, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so first thing, you've got to create a method, just that stuff that holds everything. It's really not that hard. You just kind of make a, don't worry about much of this stuff. If you want to even Google kind of what it means, but you just got to make a public static, what we call a public static method. And then you have to find out what type am I going to be. If it's going to be an age, it's probably going to not be a decimal number. You're like, how old are you? I'm blank, 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 point, blank, 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 blank. You know, you don't usually do that, right? So you'd say, okay, I'm an integer. That's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to return. I'm going to return an integer because that's what people, I mean, unless you're, you know, lessons to toddlers and they say, oh, how old is that? Oh, 18 months, you know? And then, okay, when do you stop? I don't know. 24 months. 36 months, right? 48 months. So, you know, practically, you know, as adults, we don't do that. So we you know, right. So you've got to name the method. The method you name it is the name of that node, right? So like we did it when we did convert Revit geometry to Dynamo geometry. That's the name of that node. The name of my node is I'm going to call it Marcello age node. Okay. All right. Okay, and then you basically encase it in these parentheses because you basically say, I don't want any input. You just run. I don't want, just run. The moment you drop on a canvas, run. Okay, you don't know what I mean. Okay, now we're going to set up a variable, which is an int, so we got to make an object. So we're going to say Marcello age object. Okay, this is just the object, and we're going to say equals. Now we're going to say equals the age, but you got to drive down. So what do you want to talk about? First of all, you want to get a group of friends together, just like you want to get, you know, like to category this. So you just say, okay, well, friends. Okay, of the friends, this is the most powerful thing in programming. It's the period. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Watch this. You press that, and it tells you everything available about it. Well, you can find, oh, Marcello's in there. Okay, what else is in here? Now that I got Marcello, you understand what I'm saying? You just use the period and it just drives down further, okay? So I got the friends, I press period, Marcello's in there. Oh, what else is in here? Ooh, so many goodies. And this is what happens when you start programming in Revit. You're like, I just got that ramp. What else is in there? Period. Oh my goodness, look at all that stuff. Okay, so period. Oh, I got his age, I got his height. I got, if he knows the Dynamo or not. I got his location. Oh my gosh, how could we get it? But by the way, these were preset, like program things, references that I made. But you won't have to do these because you don't have to make those references because Revit already made it for you. The Revit API.any, .api, whatever. You use those references and it's got all the database stuff in there. Okay, so here we go. All right, so then what you got to do is, since this is already finding my age, you just got to enclose it in parentheses. Okay, got 5 minutes. Now, watch this. You're like, hey, that's fine and dandy, but no, it's not. You basically found out this Marcello's age object, okay? That's going to give you the answer, but it's going to stay within this program unless you kick it out. So you have to return it. You got to get it out of the program. So all you do is you just say return. Okay, return, what do you want to return? You can return anything you want. You can return flowers, chairs, whatever you want. But no, I actually want to return Marcello's age object. And that's what I'm going to return. And that's what's going to become my output port. Bang, bang. Whoops, bang, bang. Okay? There you go. Now I'm going to compile. What's going on? There you go. That should be it. Okay, I'm going to build this. Build succeeded. Okay, ready? Watch this. I got to make sure I get over there. Copy. Okay, here we go. I've never done this live. I've never done coding live before. This is crazy. Okay. New. You load it in through here. Import library. I'm gonna find it. Here it is. Is this the right time? Open. There it is. I called it eTab symbol. Remember that was the book. That was the namespace. That was the class. And that right there is the name of our node, right? Isn't that the method we named it? Marcello's age node? And all we do is roll over this and pow, we got a ditch. Come forward. Is it right? You know what? There is actually no input port here. There's no input port. You want an input port? Yeah, I want an input port. Oh my gosh, okay. I was thinking for age, what could you do for input port? Oh, I can think something. Right? You gotta type it in here now, in between these, if you want an input port. So I'm gonna do int again. I'm gonna say, I don't know, fudge factor. Like you're talking, you're talking to someone, you're like, but see, you don't want to do that all the time. So you want to set a default of 0, right? So you only throw it out when you need it, right? So you're like, okay, right? And then you just put it here too, right? I'm gonna copy that. You just say here. I'm gonna say minus because minus, right? Because you say you're old. There it is. Okay, go. I'm gonna compile one more time. It's Dynamo close. Good. Ready? Build solution. Succeeded? Okay, you gotta let me do this. I know if I run over 1 minute, don't kill me. Does anyone want to see this? Yeah. Okay. All right, ready? New. Here we go. Import library. Okay, here we go. New timestamp. Okay, good. Here we go. All right, class. This is actually the name of your DLL. This is the name of your book, which is your namespace. This is the name of your class. This is the name of your method, which is your node. There we go. So I got Marcello at 43. But depending where I'm at, if I'm talking to millennials, maybe I'll do like this, and then I'll put it in there, and then we put it. Maybe I'm talking to baby boomers, then I can go negative. And I can go like that. Okay, how cool is that? I got 2 more minutes. Any other questions? Everyone want to go run home and code now? Yes.
You did an elephant. Are you going to do a donkey?
Might do a donkey. That's funny. The elephant, surprisingly, definitely had its 15 minutes of fame. I get a lot of people still come up to me and say, are you going to model this or you model that? I mean, sure, go to my blog site and put requests in. I'm always looking for animals. So there are a few we didn't get through. I just want to point them out really quick in the last second. There is a huge portion on analysis. If you're linking with structural analysis, so you could actually pull data out of that. There is some engineering logic that you can use if you happen to be doing structure, or if you want to have some logic and you're laying in something else, an architecture, person knows comic. And then there's some things about like aligning beams. But those are the only 3 we missed. I think we did pretty good. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you so much for coming out and presenting to our user group and contributing to our community. And I personally saw Revit art and Dynamo art, or porn, I'm really not sure. But it was really good. It was awesome, which you showed us how to think out of the box, think of everything, take home and use. So thank you all for coming out tonight. We have this recorded. It'll be posted at some point later in later dates. And hopefully, you all are nice to Marcello. We can invite him back to our users. Thank you for coming out. Thank you.
Hey guys, also really quick, I will say Marcello's, a lot of his videos are online. You can watch his Autodesk University videos. That's how I learned Dynamo. So if you guys are interested in learning Dynamo, he has some really great videos that break it down. I think it's called Practical Dynamo on AU.
Yeah, that's one of
It's a
them.
really great stuff that you can watch for free. You don't have to have a password or a login or anything like that. You can just go right online, Google his name, you'll find it.
Thanks, everyone, for having me.
Thank you.